So there's growing pressure, so-called, from Republicans for Joe Biden to be screened for dementia like Donald Trump was. And this all relates to the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, or the MoCA as it's called, which Donald Trump, you might remember, took during his time in the White House. And Trump hasn't stopped bragging about the results ever since. Even at one point, remember, telling reporters like Chris Wallace, accusing them during an interview, you couldn't do as well as me on those tests. And Trump keeps calling it a cognitive test. Trump brags about his great score and how it proves something, I guess, about his intelligence. The reality, as I've told you before, is that this test is meant to screen out serious dementia, pretty serious advanced dementia, sometimes used to evaluate patients after strokes to see what their cognitive functioning is. It's not really something to brag about. It's just a very crude and basic screening tool to find out, is something really wrong here, where someone has forgotten, what a camel looks like. Now, you might be wondering, why is this an issue now? Again, this is present now because Trump won't stop talking about it. And Dr. Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former White House doctor, who's now a congressman, is saying that Joe Biden should take the test. Don Jr. is saying Joe Biden should take the test. Donald Trump has now started saying that Joe Biden should take the test. But in so doing, Trump just can't control himself. He can't stop bragging about the test. Trump went down to the U.S.-Mexico border with Republican governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, and they had like a little press event. And somehow Trump gets on the topic of his dementia test and how Biden should take the test. Take a look at this.
But he did a test. Did I ace it? Yes, sir. I aced it. And I'd like to see Biden ace it. He won't ace it. He'll get the first two. There's 35 questions, and the first two or three are pretty easy. Maybe the animals. They're the animals. Is this a lion, a giraffe? When he gets to around 20, he's going to have a little hard time. I think he's going to have a hard time with the first few, actually. But so we really have something.
Now, Trump is just wrong about basically everything as usual. There aren't 35 questions. There are 30 points. There's really like 19 or 23 questions, depending on how you count them. So like even Trump's recollection of what the test is wrong, but he keeps insisting with it. But somehow Trump is obsessed with the test. Here he is talking to Sean Hannity, also at the border, part of his Mexico border propaganda tour that he did last week during our vacation. Listen to Trump and Sean Hannity helping to push this nonsense about the difficulty of the test.
In trouble with these comments.
We aced it. I think I can say that I aced it.
Did he get one? He didn't get one question wrong, did he? 30 out of 30. Yeah. Wow.
I have to tell you, the crowd cheering is just something else. I mean, they're cheering for what is a normal state. They're cheering for not suffering from serious dementia. These are people who would clap for anything. Consider what it is they're clapping for. It's pathetic. The president passed a test meant to screen for serious cognitive impairment. Yeah, what a manly guy, our leader. Here's the rest of the clip, and Trump again saying the test is just much tougher than the media will tell you.
And they did get a little more difficult after you got by 15, I would say. But
I heard the first three questions are, is it a giraffe or an elephant, right?
Well, that's what the fake news does. They take the first two or three questions and they put them in. But let me tell you, they would not get those last 15 right, certainly not the last 10, that I can tell you. But anyway.
So again, Dr. Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former doctor, now just a bomb-throwing congressman, also pushing this and saying that something is going on. Biden needs a test. And just to remind you about the test, by the way, this really is an easy test. We've got it up on the screen. I mean, it's, stuff like draw a clock that shows that it's 11:10, identify a lion, a rhino, and a camel. Repeat back to me the words face velvet church daisy red. Read a list of digits and then, you count them back like the tester would say 21854. And you have to say 21854, or repeat the numbers backwards, 742. And you say 247. Subtract by 7 out loud, like 193, 86, 79. This is the test. When Trump says there are tougher questions, there's one called abstraction, which is like, What are the similarities between train and bicycle? To which you would say, oh, sir, those are methods of transportation, or, things Republicans oppose, depending on your perspective. A watch and a ruler. Well, both of those help you measure different things. The watch measures time and the ruler measures length. This is this is the difficult test that Trump is talking about. So it's all pathetic. It seems to be another distraction narrative, quite frankly, and it is bizarre that Donald Trump is still obsessed with it. If you've been watching the show, you've probably heard me talk about how much I love my Helix mattress. Well, I was really excited to hear that Helix has launched a new company called Allform, which makes premium, customizable sofas and chairs with the same level of quality and comfort that I expect from these guys. And Allform is one of our sponsors today. They're giving you 20% off at allform.com/Pakman. They actually sent me a couch, which I put in my living room at home. It's now my favorite piece of furniture in the house. It took me just minutes to set it up. It's solidly built. It's huge. It's roomy. It has a modern minimalist design, which I love, but it's also very comfortable. Fabric is soft, clearly very high quality. It has become the focal point of my living room. Their prices are very reasonable. And when you get a new sofa or chair, you get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it. And the best part is everything comes with a lifetime warranty. Stop buying poorly made furniture. Go to customize your own Allform sofa or chair right now and get 20% off your entire order when you get there by going to allform.com/Pakman. I've also put the link right underneath this video.